Problem. And recording now. There you go. Start recording. Okay, now we're on Skype. And now I'm going to record on the audio and we get started. 1 second. Here we go. Come on. Stop buffering. Let's go. GarageBand. All right. Still game report. Kyle Nash. Sorry, Kyle F. and Nash.
Actually said it with a little bit of fervor this week. You must be renewed, having dunked on Jim so thoroughly with your number 10 placement of the Chiefs last week.
Well, if you listen to the podcast, which of course will go up on Wednesday, the Chiefs went up a spot.
Yeah, that too. I have to be honest. I had not looked at your top 10 yet this week. I saw that you posted it, and
I wanted to record the segment with Mike first before we did that.
Okay.
So, but
okay,
yeah.
So maybe I saw last week's posting. Actually, no, that's what it was. Last week's posting came up on my timeline, and it said I looked. I'm like, wait a minute, and it had that 6D, which isn't just your social life, mind you, but like the number of days ago.
I mean, seriously, bro, ain't that serious? Shoot, but I'm looking for today's show because we got a lot to talk about. A lot of things to talk about, not just in the NFL, but also college football. Let me start here.
Actually, really quick, and I'll weigh in this too because Danny Thompson has been so truant in recording of the Beyond the Buzzer show lately, but he has a good reason for that. We'll talk about that when we come back to life here in the not too distant future. But I'm starting to paint the possibility that Kyrie throwing his tantrum right now might be a good thing for the Brooklyn Nets.
Explain why.
Aha! He's intrigued, my former tutor.
I'm always intrigued what you're going to say,
Oh, look at this guy. I'm not even married to him. He's kissing up to me like that. I think the fact that Kyrie is kicking all this stink, when the mandates do eventually lift in Brooklyn, should they retain his services because he's basically untradeable for anything of real value at this point, if the mandate is lifted after, let's say, the first 15, 20 games or something, there's something that a lot of these big three types have struggled with is having the proper order of operations of who's the biggest star, who's two, who's three. You, in the Church of Go Heat bitch, saw how Chris Bosh managed to fit nicely into the number 3 and did so quite humbly. That hasn't always been such a clean transition. Now, this situation presents the fact that Kyrie has to be the number 3 because he's going to get introduced so late into the season should the Nets retain him. Ergo, from a psychological standpoint, this could be a blessing in disguise that not only keeps Kyrie healthy, but keeps his mind in check as the number 3 option, getting things going into the season. And hopefully he can hold on. Maybe they can actually do some damage. Of course, they could also.
Regardless of that.
What's that?
Regardless of that. And by the way, your point there is actually correct. I actually like that argument. He's still number 3 anyway because he's not better than James Harden or Kyrie or Kevin Durant. So that's not even like so much a conversation.
No. You're but yeah, see, that's the thing. You're making it more about me saying that he's not the number 3. I think this supplants Kyrie's personality, to put it friendly. Because, listen, I think we've established Kyrie is a challenging individual anyway. The Nets go in. If this works, they can go in. If mandates start getting lifted, they could be in a position where Kyrie's marketable again. The best move is to hold on to him, in my opinion, at this point. Especially with guaranteed contracts being what they are in the NBA. But hold on to him, and maybe the mandate gets lifted. Maybe you can get things working right.
They have said that, now, of course, they could change their mind here, but they have said that they're not going to extend them.
Yeah, that's cute, but I'll put it this way. Sign and trades are a thing that happens as well.
Rubber meets the road, of course, yeah.
So sign and trades are a thing that happen. I wouldn't count that as an extension personally if I'm in the front office. So sign and trades are a thing, my friend. You know this.
Yes, of course I know this.
You thought you had me stymied. I could tell it in your goofy face. Oh, try that football, man. Oh, shit, he's right. I said this, and you're like, carry on, fat man.
There, buddy.
No, but I at this point, I really think holding on to Kyrie here, hoping the mandate lifts, and then doing a sign and trade if they want to move him would be the best options. Granted, I say it as if all that is mandated There's some things that definitely have to go their way for that to work, but I think that would be the best case scenario at this point.
Right. Okay, let's just football quick. I guess the first thing we just teased a little while ago about the Chiefs and whatnot. Let's talk about it real quick. They bounce back, albeit slow start. And by the way, the good thing about me, you, and Jim talking all the time is that we were talking in real time during this game when the Chiefs were down, I think 3 to Washington, and then the second half can't turn around.
This is why I avoid real time tweeting. Then you don't get in this kind of trouble, right?
This is a group. Thank God it's a group text. It's staying between you and me in the walls in our house. That's it.
Oh no, you didn't see out on Twitter, like Big Jim was publicly talking ish. Oh, I guess this is what happens when the Chiefs are 10. And I'm like,
that's that tweet. He tagged me. Shit.
No, he didn't. And I made a comment, and he's like, he didn't appreciate it and mentioned something. And it was all in fun, of course. I even made a comment about, well, maybe you should pay more attention to real sports and not fake ones, And
no,
I know that was a bridge too far. And he called me on it, and I was just trying to be silly, and it was all actually a very fun exchange. But the long of the short is, this is why I don't tweet in real time. Unless you see me giving Twitter updates when I cover the UCF Knights for the 3-point conversion. Bing!
Oh wait, so you need to warn me these fucking dings, dude. Seriously.
Hey, listen. When Michael Jordan would do something amazing, somebody would ask him how he did it, and he goes, "I don't know, I just do it." I can't give you do you put a time clock on perfection? No. Okay. So you just need to be ready for protection. You need protection from perfection, knowing it's going to show up on your door in any second.
Very nice.
All right, cool. All right, let's go.
See, like you did right there. Perfect.
Anyway,
so with all that aside, I mean, say what you want about the Redskins defense being statistically bad or whatever. They have a defensive front that can make you change your mind and force mistakes like that. And they did. And then Patrick LaVon Mahomes II explained why he's Patrick LaVon Mahomes II and why nobody knows Dak Prescott's first name yet.
So they said, have the Chiefs another 3-3. And we said that, I already said that, on the last podcast, that by the time we end this month of October, they'll be 5-3. They want phase 1 complete. They got the Titans next week, which now we realize because they just beat Buffalo last night. And then, of course, the Giants. Come on, that's a win. Have the Chiefs turned the corner, or is there still more you got to see? I mean, I guess it's going to be a week-to-week thing, right?
Well, right. I mean, it's very interesting analyzing the Chiefs' schedule and how difficult it now looks like it is, right? Yeah, I mean, the Chargers doing what they're doing, the Raiders doing what they're doing, even in a week, mind you, where their coach is fired, emails and whatnot. And then, listen, if people should be so lucky that the worst team in their division is the Denver Broncos, as much as I've questioned them and as much as I said, a lot of teams aren't ready for Teddy. But those teams also happen to have losing records. So, and Bridgewater being hurt over and above all that, you should be so lucky if the worst team in your division is the Denver Broncos. So,
yeah, it was, by the way, it is falling apart now.
I'll even add this. Are you ready, EJ Christian?
Yeah, I'm ready.
With the injury of Russell Carrington Wilson, I am prepared to declare, in fact, that the AFC West is a better division than the NFC West right now.
That's the default move because of injuries.
Yeah.
The minute you insert Russell Wilson back in the lineup before anything has been played, before a ball snapped, that changes immediately.
Oh, obviously. But in a month and a half, we'll have that conversation.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. If you're talking about right now in this snapshot right now, week 7.
Yes.
On that one.
Yes.
That one.
Yes.
What else on the docket we have here?
Oh wait, you're a wrestling fan. Yes. 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 Okay. There you go. Never doing that again. Moving on. It's just
what's wrong with that? Just Brian.
That's a lot of energy I just wasted. I'm too lazy for that ish.
We're too old too. Oh, did I say that? Yeah, I did.
Whatever, dude. I make age look. Why are you griping about old? The only thing old about you is you might need, you might need to sing "Push It" in reference to your beard because you got a little bit of salt and pepper. That's the only age you really show.
She hates the beard, dude. She hates the beard. She likes the goatee, not the beard.
Oh wow! So she hates the beard. So she likes baby Ernest, huh?
It says goatee. It's goatee, not extended beard.
Oh,
yeah.
And just shave, dumbass. Next.
No. Stop me in the winter, comfortable fall, winter time to grow my goatee. Okay.
Winter. You live in Florida. Don't pull that shit on me.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. It's Santa time, buddy. The Browns are now 3-3. Mayfield's hurt. I'm not sure if you're missing any time, but all of a sudden the Browns are kind of in that spot again where they went from a team that was quietly 3-1 and seemed to be making, doing things the right way without causing concern, and now they're 3-3 and kind of back in the middle of the pack again.
Wow, you mean their schedule got harder and they started to suck? No kidding. It's almost as if somebody might have been able to predict that.
Here's the question: are you concerned long term with this team? Because I still think, end of the day, they'll figure it out. That the roster is too good to not figure it out. Although I will say that I don't think they can afford the Bengals being this good, honestly, out the gate.
No, that's a great point with the Bengals, actually. And I think the Bengals thing is also kind of temporary this season. Listen, pray that if I'm a Cleveland fan, I am praying that Cleveland front office does one of two things: ignores Joe Burrow in the draft and actually gets protection this time, or that Joe Burrow doesn't say, "I want that lineman," and they go get them. Okay, because at this point, that's all that offense is missing is that protection.
Yeah. Not for nothing. I'm obviously I don't think Steelers are 3-3 too as well. So I mean, it's getting a little dicey. I know a lot of people will be played now, but it's starting to get a little dicey now in the AFC North. Ravens still running away the division a little bit now, and
Listen, some of us said that the Ravens would win the Super Bowl. Well, first that division, the Super Bowl, and that Lamar Demetrius Jackson finally remembered it.
Got it. Yes. There
he is. That Lamar Demetrius Jackson will in fact be the MVP this year. And matter of fact, while we're on that topic, anybody who wants to try to tell me that Kyler Murray is the MVP is now officially part of the problem. These are the same people that tried to hand me Patrick Mahomes II as the MVP last year when he clearly was not. I would even put Dakota Prescott ahead of Kyler Murray in MVP votes. That's right, I said it. Okay? Because
you did say it, but wait, you did say it.
I really did. Just if you're going to try to tell me when your next best weapon is what? Ezekiel Elliott with the Cowboys? And no. Dakota Prescott is reporting, I think it's like a hamstring or some sort of a minor, air quotes, injury. Calf, that's right.
Yeah. He's okay, he said. He said he's okay, though. So
quarterbacks playing hurt. That's never happened before. Just ask Andrew Luck. Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see how that impacts the Cowboys' performance. And all these people who were talking Super Bowl before were crazy. Hearing that, I'm even more skeptical.
So let's do a quick then. If you did an MVP right now, so just a quick snapshot off your top of your head. Top 3 MVP candidates right now. Does that mean you mean order? If you want to order, fine. That's up to you. Who would be your 3 guys right now?
Well, I mean, for my money, the winner still is, and call me biased if you want, but my prediction is correct in Lamar Demetrius Jackson. That's the thing that's number one. That's not without any sort of question. At this point, too, I would also have to very strongly consider Dakota Prescott. The third would be, and I don't know why more people aren't talking about this, probably because he's not a quarterback, Derrick Henry. As much as I trash the Titans, he needs to be in the conversation.
Yes. He is that team right now.
Right now, has been for the past 2 years, right? And I don't care about Julius Peppers. Julio Jones. I don't know why I said Julius Peppers.
Wow.
I know. He's a great player. He does that to me. But Julio Jones is the only reason they're even able to complete passes over 40 yards at this point. But it's not like that they have a horrible schedule. Granted, I mean, they do have a horrible schedule. It's not like they have a horrible win-loss record is what I should say. It's not like they're not still winning some games and they're still keeping afloat, and they're doing that on the back of Derrick Henry.
Right. No, I'm with you. I think other guy I'll consider also is Kyler Murray as well.
Kyler Murray might be top 5. You said top 3, thus he is not made my.
Yeah. That's the other guy I would consider, like, other than like Derrick Henry, because
I'm not bad at people that put him in the conversation. Let me be clear about that.
No, I have the same 3 as you, just for the record. So
listen. Too many people forget that the MVP conversation is supposed to be more with less. It's the whole reason J.J. Watt was screwed out of it the year he's catching touchdowns and leading the league in sacks in the top 5 at the position as well.
Right. The New York Giants. Oof. That was. I mean, I'm not surprised that happened. It's just the scene of massacres.
Listen.
If you're the Giants, if you're John Mara,
yeah,
we know where this year's going. We know it's going to end up being a disaster.
Right.
What do you do? Do you clean house again?
So I know this is not the way it's going to happen. And I'm not here to tell you that Joe Judge is my favorite coach of all time, but I'm not prepared to say this is his fault yet. The fact of the matter is this, EJ Christian, right? Eli won his Super Bowls, and then he started to struggle after that. Yeah. What had happened, right? Mm-hmm. Earth, Wind, and Fire were no more in the backfield, right? Ahmad Bradshaw, Derek Ward, and I always forget the third running back's name.
It was Derek Ward, Ahmad Bradshaw.
If only if I had Brandon Jacobs, there you go. There's Earth. If only I had a Giants fan to help me with that, I would have gotten it quicker. Anyways,
so I have one on the podcast right now. A Giants fan.
Oh, when are they coming on?
Let me know.
Let me know when they call in. Anyways, so and then on top of that, what also happened? Their offensive line deteriorated.
Yeah.
Danny Dimes is putting up with the same thing. There is zero protection there, and his running back, not that he can run protect very well anyway, because he's not that kind of player, can't stay off the damn IR. So I'm not prepared to put that on Joe Judge. Now, if you want to link him to why this defense is so bad, okay, maybe. But again, when Danny Dimes is throwing this many picks or there's this many turnovers, the defense can only do so much for you. So at this point, listen, metropolitan areas have a higher population of vegan and vegetarians in general, and they need to get away from that and start getting some beef.
Okay, I want to play a clip from a press conference from after the Lions game. Hold on, give me 1 second. The Lions game. Give me 1 second. Dan Campbell, Lions head coach. Following
when you said press conference, I already knew you were talking about the Lions because that's all Dan Campbell's good for.
They call it on the Dead Laboratory, so they call him Man Campbell because his time with Miami, of course.
I can't front on that, man. Listen,
so I want
badass there too.
He basically calls out Jared Goff. I want to just play a clip, and I want you to see whether he was out of line or not.
Yeah, look, I think I will say this. I still don't feel like I don't feel like we can accurately judge him one way or another. I don't feel that way yet. Now, I will say this.
Speak up, buddy.
I feel like he needs to step up more than he has. And I think he needs to help us, just like everybody else. And I think he's going to need to put a little bit of weight on his shoulders here, and it's time to step up, make some throws, and do some things. And but he needs help. He needs help, And look, I told him out there, he knows this, but some of that stuff, we're getting these holding calls. Well, it's because he's drifting back in the pocket 10 yards deep. That's not fair to those guys either. If you hang on to the ball, so it's like I told you, this is a collective effort now. Everything goes hand in hand. But I want to see him step up. I do, because I think he can do it. Yeah. Look,
was he online? Because I played the entire clip because most publications are cutting it off at the step up part, and that's it.
Yeah, I was about to give you props for that.
Yeah, more context matters here. I wasn't bothered what he said at all. He laid out what he said. Jared Goff, you're the quarterback of the team. You went to the Super Bowl. You were at one point considered a top 10 guy at one point, maybe for a year. I don't see a problem with what he said here personally. I don't even call it. I don't even consider it calling out. Just stating the obvious, doing your job.
It's very interesting. as you, one of the people who on your podcast vehemently told me how crazy I was when I said that this was not Jeff Fisher's fault when Goff was struggling. And everybody threw the book at Jeff Fisher.
Including me.
Probably one of the most underappreciated coaches of all time. And I'm not here to say that he's great, but he's not as bad as you people made him out to be. Okay? I mean, this is a guy who got to a damn Super Bowl and was like 1 yard away from winning it. And then managed double-digit wins and returns to the playoffs with Kerry frickin' Collins at quarterback. Okay? This is a guy who got smashed in the Super Bowl. And if you were a Giants fan, this would probably be a devastating memory for you. Okay? This is a guy who made Vince Young look like he might have hope instead of being an outright bust from moment one. Everyone forgets about that. Can you name the next best quarterback that Jeff Fisher has had on a roster other than Steve McNair? You can't. Okay? Maybe Jeff Fisher was onto something. Maybe Sean McVay was just as good as advertised, and maybe he recognized that maybe it was time for him to scoff at Goff, just like everyone else had begun to.
You suited in there. I see it.
I thought you might.
Yeah.
So you can be surprised by this. Anybody could be like, yeah, what's Jared Goff's problem? I tried to tell you, Mamma Jammas, years ago, but all you wanted to do was poo-poo all over Jeff Fisher. Who's the bitch now, Ernest Christian? Okay.
so Jeff Fisher to me is kind of like where I think I'm starting to where Pete Carroll's at now. Like he was always a good coach. It's just that he got stale. That's all. Anything else?
That argument could definitely be made about staleness. I just really think that they had a lot of trouble getting when they got good quarterbacks in then St. Louis, they couldn't keep them helping. Need I remind people of Sam Bradford? His numbers were amazing. He just couldn't start more than 8 games in a season more often than not. Poor Steven Jackson had to do what Derrick Henry is now in Tennessee. Okay, ironically, Tennessee.
What if the Lions went after this guy?
Trubisky or whatever the hell his name is.
I mean, listen, I don't know why anyone would go after him. He quarterback the team that replaced him now is only now getting to be in the top 10 and haven't been there up to this point at all this season.
I said it. You said it. Here's another thing I want to touch on real quick. Also, did you follow this Washington football team Sean Taylor thingy, where they last minute decided to do a ceremony for him, retire his jersey? Like they announced like on Wednesday or Thursday.
Yeah.
And it was a shit show apparently. What, dude? Why does Washington always shit on themselves? Like shoot themselves in the foot every fucking time. I don't get it.
They're still in the middle of building out of a culture they're trying to get away from, right? I mean, and listen, I'm a Sean Taylor guy. I played pickup games and went to college with one of his cousins, I liked him even before I found out my buddy was his cousin. So there you go. Mm-hmm. I'll put it this way. Sometimes you just got to do it a week late so it's done right. And that's what they should have done. Or a game late, I should say. Do
you think there was a response to the whole Gruden thing last week in the emails and stuff?
It's possible, but I truly hope not. That would be just sad.
But I mean, dude, the timing can be more perfect. I mean, you had that situation with the emails, and all of a sudden, okay, let's throw this in here to kind of like diverse attention from that. But that's too damn obvious, though, huh?
What it could also be is, and I think let's also the thing about conspiracy is it denotes intelligence and organization and something being well run,
right?
And I don't think anyone's here to accuse the Red Tails organization of that. Okay, the fact that they're not the Red Tails yet tells me that in and of itself. We've had this conversation plenty of times, but I think it's more likely, and maybe it's my faith in humanity or my lack of faith that the WFT organization is too often the WTF organization, and thus eliminates my faith. I think it's more likely that they're trying to deal with and hustle through all this, and someone goes, oh, hell, guys, blah, blah, Sean Taylor, fans are talking about that. Oh, bleep, we got to do something. Crap, what do we do? Let's rope off a spot somewhere on the field. That looks good, right? You know, like as I'm even saying it, you're probably manifesting the conversation of executives in your head, right?
By the way, he got murdered 14 years ago. You mean tell me you know, in these 14 years you didn't even think about doing this until like now, 14 years later, really?
Yeah, 14 years. You see, and that's the part that lends, actually, honestly, if anything lends credence to your side of it being an attempt to deflect from the Gruden drama, it would be, who the hell celebrates 14? Like, I've heard of the wood, paper, and tin anniversaries, but that's 1, 5, and 10.
That's a great point.
There is no substance or material for 14. That's not a thing.
All right, go to college real quick. Ed Orgeron, he I guess he got fired, I guess. I mean,
I don't even know that I would call it that. I think it's more a situation where they're just not going to extend him, right?
He didn't come back, in other words. He didn't come back to LSU.
Right.
Dude, 18 months ago, was it 18 months ago? He won a national championship, and now he'll be
not
out.
just won the national championship. People keep saying that, and that's just not fair. I mean, hell, Joe Flacco won a championship, right? Things happen. They were statistically the best offense in college football history. Okay, Kanye? About time. All right?
Not Kanye anymore. It's Ye. As of today.
Whatever. Kanye.
No, I'm sure he got to change to Ye today.
Yeah, that's great.
No, I mean, I'm serious.
He was never Terrell Owens. He was Terrell Owens. Hear what I'm telling you. So anyways, Kanye, best about time conversation offensively. And yeah, it's still so fresh that Burrow is commenting on it in a post-game presser. But this is life dealing with boosters, right? It could be argued that his team was the most affected in 2020 with COVID of anybody in the nation. And then over and above that, they're still recovering from all the people that departed, right? You know, we mentioned Joe Burrow. There's an argument that could be made that I keep wanting to call him Jeffries, and it's Jefferson. Justin Jefferson in Minnesota could have been possibly, if he's not the best receiver in that class, he's in the top 3 last year. Another party that's no longer on that offense. And I can go on the players they lost. And you know, say what you will about Coach O, these are the facts of the case. And being in the SEC, being a story program like LSU, you know, a place where that even produced one as Nick Saban, right? You know, that's, I mean, there's high pressure and high demands there, you know. And I'll say this, I can't help but think proselytizing Nick Saban's retirement is a possibility here. They want to be a strong program when Saban finally does get claimed by mortality. Now, granted, I don't think that'll be in the next 5 years myself, but I maybe they know things I don't. I don't know.
We'll see. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of things going on at LSU. Investigation. Is that Title IX investigation against LSU?
Yeah, and you know, I shouldn't lift that out either, right? Yeah, his
Also, he kept bringing the girlfriends, kept bringing to practice, and but Bomani Jones had a great point on this podcast today too. Also, supposedly everything went downhill after because he apparently had gotten divorced. Like I think like 2 weeks after he won the title. And it's just kind of gone haywire in his personal life since then too. So I wonder if that has a lot to do with the situation as well too.
That has to be a factor. One would have to think. I mean, listen, if you say good point and Bomani Jones in the same sentence, I'm not surprised. Well, it's keep bringing up Bill Simmons that makes me question your integrity.
Speaking of, real quick, I found this video at Orgeron, some voices here. Hold on a second.
We ain't backing down.
You got a problem with that? Oh, that tiger. Well,
hey, little mama, would you like to be my sunshine?
Come on.
Nigga, touch my game.
No.
What you doing?
Hold on a second. Hey, guys. That's Diane, Louisiana. Hold on a second. Hey, guys. Hey, I'm having a press conference, okay? Thank you.
He's yelling at someone in the gym. And he says, hold on a second. And he's yelling at people yelling while he's doing the press conference. It's fucking great. Anyway.
No, it's amazing. And you know, the best thing about Coach O, and I witnessed this happen at the Fiesta Bowl. Like somebody asked him about the impressions and the things that happen, and he leans into it, man. He's a great sport about it.
It's good for his brand. And I think that alone will probably make him marketable to another team to pick him up in the future.
Honestly. I mean, listen, I told you point blank that he is probably my favorite press conference of all time. And you know, to add to the bias that I obviously hold, I've actually had the opportunity to shake hands with him and talk with him a bit. He's a genuinely nice human being. And if he's having a rough personal patch trying to get through certain things, I think it makes sense for both parties to kind of part ways and regroup.
Right. Go Tigers. Go Tigers.
Well, and who knows? Like, one can hope that the Auburn job opens up so we can continue to hear him say "Go Tigers" if and when he gets it, right?
Yes,
Go Tigers.
That'd be awesome.
Of course, then Whoa Eagle. See, that's just not as good. You know?
That's true. Hey, right on command, and we're gonna be on Huddle Up with Big Jim tonight on Tuesday.
As the evening of this recording, which you would be hearing Wednesday because time and space.
Well, this podcast will be up on Wednesday. Although this segment, the video segment, what we're doing here on Student Game will be on my YouTube page immediately after I finish this. So.
Oh hell yeah! Lucky you. Because you better subscribe, bitches.
Because there is actually a Student Game playlist on my YouTube page also too. I don't know if you know
what?
That. Yes.
I subscribe to your YouTube channel. How do I not know this?
Yeah, it's there. I created it last week.
Better step my game up.
Yeah. Oh, but obviously this will come up on the show. But we'll talk about it here quickly. Iowa already.
I mean, I love it. Like, I know you have to do it because you're the host and you got to bring up the topic because that's your job as a host of the Honestly Speaking podcast. Right. But me as the guest who made this prediction, like, all I can do is have, The Rock and his verbal stylings in my head. What can I say except you're welcome for the warning that I gave you last week. And, great. I talk that ish. But Purdue, I never would have picked that. I'll be real.
No, I thought that I would probably early November, not in mid-October. But hey, we're here. But it kind of fits the narrative of this college football season anyway.
Yeah, great. And somebody else trying to make me believe that Notre Dame is to be taken seriously. Oh, well, they beat Iowa.
Oh, well, we'll handle that this week. Tonight. We'll handle that tonight.
More to come. That's right.
On their turf. Him and Matt should be there too. So we'll figure that out.
Yes, no. Everybody's favorite AJ Hawk, Matt.
So that being said, and that'll be our final topic of the day on the Student Game Report here. What is right now? I mean, we'll do this every week now for the remainder of the year. Now we're at that point of the season. What is your playoff for right now? If you're the committee and you pick the 4 teams right now, you think should be representing the college football playoff right now? Snapshot. Who is the
right now? Okay, so I'm going to lead with this. As critical as I was of Cincy at 3 last week, them being 2 this week somehow sits okay with me. Yeah. Don't ask me to explain it. That's just where I'm at.
Do their job.
Obviously, Georgia's at 1. Duh. Cincy at 2, I'm okay with it. 3, Alabama. 4.
That's the big one here. 4.
Ohio State. Get Oklahoma the entire hell out of my face. I am done with this. You struggle against teams that have been boat raced by the SEC. Why am I taking you seriously? Why? Why are you here?
And it feels like by default that Ohio State is here because of everything that's working for them right now as we get into late October.
Now, that all being said, I would be more than happy to hear arguments for
Michigan State.
Michigan even, right? I'm more than happy to field those arguments. And if you want to put one of those Big Ten teams in there instead, totally cool with it. Matter of fact, I'll even give you Michigan because if Michigan doesn't Michigan by the end of the year, I think they should be.
They'll be there anyway because they play both those teams. Well, again, and it works out because Michigan does play the Buckeyes later this year. So if they do their job, they will be in the playoff.
Actually, you know what? I'll even change my thing from Ohio State to Michigan and give Jim a good weekend with his wife.
I like that.
Because it gives them the opportunity to control their own destiny, which they won't because they never do, as much as I like Jim Harbaugh as a coach.
But this the year, I mean, from what you've seen this year, because it's been a wacky year in college football across the board,
Yeah.
Is this the year that Michigan does actually take out Ohio State?
Anything can happen.
You didn't close the door on it. So.
I'm not prepared to say that yet because they've been getting steadily better. And so the science, I'll go all Vulcan on you from Star Trek.
Okay.
Logic dictates that by the end of the year, Ohio State would be at their best peak performance condition. And if Michigan can win that game when that's supposed to be the case, yeah, then they should definitely be headed to the conference championship, at which point they should be able to handle business against Iowa. And if they fail to do those things, they should not be in the playoff. But if they do, welcome to the 4th spot of the playoff.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. I think the Big Ten, for all the shit we give it, is probably right now the most interesting conference right now in college football.
I don't agree with that necessarily, but they're definitely
interesting.
Definitely one of the top 2 interesting conferences, because you're never going to be more interesting than the SEC. Granted, bias, best money, best college football that money can buy, et cetera, et cetera.
But the reason I say that there's this is not even so much as because they're not even a conversation as good as the SEC. I'm saying that because of the fact that SEC, it's pretty much guaranteed who's going to be there. Like Georgia does a job of being there, and Bama will probably still get in there regardless.
Well, yeah. Now that Bama's lost, it is interesting. That's why I don't think it's fair for you to make that statement.
Oh, okay. You think still but the thing is, everybody else around them is still fucking all lost too. So who cracks the Bama thing? I can't make it to anybody.
Because I'll put it this way: the conference championship is what decides everything, right? If Georgia is dominant in the conference championship, then Alabama probably won't make it in, and at that point, we're probably talking about Oklahoma seriously at that point.
Well, the good thing this year too is that the year Bama made it when they were not in the conference championship, they got lucky because the team they played were in the same division, so they to backdoor in that way.
Correct.
Now Georgia and Bama are separate divisions in the SEC, so that's going to happen. And I don't know if you could justify a Bama team getting in if they get blown out by Georgia. Now, if Bama somehow like say they lose, it's a close game. Anybody else around them implodes. Do you see a case of Bama with 2 losses Alabama getting to the playoff?
One of those losses being against Georgia in the conference championship. My question to you isn't, is there an argument? My question to you is, who is better? And it's not Oklahoma.
There you go. You answered your question. Boom. That's it. So you have Georgia, Cincy, right?
Yep.
You said Michigan and Bama.
Bama, Michigan. You have it out of order for now, but by the end of the year, it probably will be 3rd and 4th, like you said, right? Which would have Cincy playing Michigan. That is a good football game.
And by the way, Pac-12, I told you they shit themselves. Told you.
Yeah, right. I mean, if you had said to me Oregon, Stanford on the schedule, I would have looked at my history and said they could blow that. I didn't think they would quite in that fashion, but
right. Yeah. And it's funny how the ACC is nowhere in this conversation. Nowhere.
As they shouldn't be.
Yeah, love it. They shouldn't be. It stinks. Clemson stinks. Miami stinks.
I'm not here to say Clemson stinks. They're just the biggest fish in that stinky pond.
It's a very stinky pond in itself. Anyway, Kyle, Student Game Report, of course, this week on Football's Awesome, part of our Speaking Podcast. Go ahead and plug away as I ding you away through your plugs.
Hey, listen, of course, Ernest Christian. Julia's doing a great job having me on today. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it, as always. Bing! Love that we're going to be the exclusive thing here on Tuesdays on the YouTube page, man. I'm flattered as hell about that. That's pretty badass. So keep checking that out on Tuesdays. Subscribe and hit your notifications so you can get as much Football is Awesome as you want right when it happens. You don't have to wait on these other slackers and degenerates that I call slackers and degenerates because they're betting. Take it easy, EJ. And then, of course, I am Kyle Nash, the student of the game. You can find me on Twitter as the SOTG. Find me on Instagram as the same, the SOTG. Find me on Facebook as the student of the game. Of course, check out my work with the 3-point conversion. That's the number 3, 3pointconversion.com, as I cover the UCF Knights and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Also, do not forget the Huddle Up podcast. Apparently, I can at least call myself a contributor at this point with this guy here, EJ, when he's not too big a deal to show up. And my work. What's that?
I always show up for the most part. I always show up.
You were on a 3 or 4 game skid where you weren't there, but that's okay. Like Derrick Henry, I carried the team. It's all right. So,
have you for it in case it's a Kyle.
Listen, I got 2 kids and a wife too, hippie. All right. Anyways, and I don't name them after players that are on the team I hate the most. I digress, Patriots.
Just the rings.
And of course, check out my work with oldschool101.com, A7BN Sports with the Captain and Company Morning Show with Captain Chris Hill. My work with Hilarity by Default. You saw some stuff come across the page last week, didn't you, Ernest Christian?
I think I did. I'm subscribed to you guys, but I didn't get the alerts. I don't know why.
Well, trust me.
I had to think myself to see it.
You may have to turn on notifications, just like I asked your audience to do on your YouTube page. And then, of course, is it still a ding if I do it for you, right?
Yeah.
And of course, that's Hilarity by Default with my good friend Demosthenes Euclid. And of course, lastly, Danny Thompson and I will be back very soon. There have been some developments. Danny Thompson trying to get big time over here.
I saw that.
So more on him and his future with WNIS, I believe it is. Very interesting. But yeah, look out for us to come back sooner than later with Beyond the Buzzer podcast. That'll be a thing that's awesome all the way around. And of course, this guy here, Ernest Julius Christian, on the Earnestly Speaking podcast. It's not really Julius, but you know.
We put him on TV. Pedro's on TV.
Hey, but listen, man, I had a lot of fun. Until next time, class dismissed.
Good job, buddy. That's good.